Donald Trump loves the poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. They love me too, folks. They're always out at the polls voting for me. They're wonderful people. They're dumb as a box of rocks, but I love them. Anyway, Donald Trump is not a fan of the highly educated people because usually highly educated people hold his ass to account because he's a hypocrite and they point it out and he fucking hates it. Anytime a media person asks him a real question, he just looks at him and goes, "You're fake news. Aren't you? Where are you from? You're fake news, aren't you? I'm looking at you. You look like fake news because you asked me a question that I don't like. Why can't you just ask me about my golf game? Why can't you ask me about how wonderful I am? If you did that, I would love to have you in the reporter pit. Yeah, just come on over here. Now that guy asked me a great question. He asked me how I make my hair look so magnificent. Anyway, sorry, getting off on a Trump tangent here. But he has been going hard against Harvard. Now, look, I don't want to sit here and sing the praises of one of the wealthiest schools in America. They pretty much just pump out a whole bunch of erudite, upper crust 0.1%, but they do have a lot of foreign students that come here because America is supposed to be about, being that shining city on a hill. So people want to come to America to learn at the best, the best education centers that there are. And Harvard is generally at the top of that list. Now, what I am happy about when it comes to Harvard is that even though they basically educate the wealthy for the most part, and there's a lot of nepotism involved. My dad went to Harvard, my granddad went to Harvard, so I get to go to Harvard, and isn't that wonderful? But they do have enough cachet and enough money to be able to withstand the onslaught that Donald Trump is putting to them. Donald Trump, he's been going after colleges lately, and when a college buckles, then he's like, ooh, oh boy, what else can I get from him? Because that's how fascism works. You give them an inch, they take a mile. But Harvard, when he went after Harvard, and he's like, you got too many protesters protesting against Israel. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. I want you to have private security. I want you to call the cops. I want you to break them up. I want you to change all of your education principles. I want you to fire that guy who says Israel is bad. I want. Well, Harvard's like, fuck you, man. We're not doing that shit. I don't give a good goddamn what the hell you want, man. We're teaching, our kids what we've always taught our kids. And we're not going to stop teaching our kids that stuff. So that pissed off Donald Trump. And he's been going after him pretty hard. Recently, he just put out a fucking bleat on Truth Social. And he says, no more foreign students. And then somebody asked him, a reporter asked him about it, and he goes, well, I think it's very simple. You shouldn't be letting these people in here. Some of them can't even do math. I mean, that's fucking rich. Coming from a guy who could barely speak English, talking about how foreign students coming into this country who were accepted by Harvard can't do math. What do you do? You do math. I mean, you're telling me you're a fucking moron right there. Can you do math? I do math every day. I do it up, I do it down. I do the hell out of that math. But he's going after Harvard, and he's saying that you can't have any more foreign students in there. And of course, they're basically telling him to fuck off. And a few people have speculated lately that the reason why he's got it in for Harvard is because several of his kids, including his youngest, Barron, applied to get into Harvard, and they turned him down because they're fucking morons. I mean, have you even listened to Eric or Don Jr. speak? I don't think I even know what Barron Trump's voice sounds like. I don't really want to know. But I've heard Eric and Don Jr. speak, and they're idiots. I mean, they're fucking morons. They couldn't think their way out of a wet paper bag. But they couldn't get into Harvard, and I think that Donald Trump has got a grudge against them. That's just speculation on my part, and I've heard a few other people say that. But, I mean, personally, the reason I think probably is the fact that they told him no. And if anybody tells Donald Trump no, he gets angry, he gets mean, he gets litigious. You know, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take away your federal funding. And it doesn't stop with the foreign students. Now he's doing this war on science where it's not just Harvard, it's everywhere. And he's trying to defund education. Honestly, when he says that he likes the poorly educated, I think he's just trying to make it come true. He wants everybody to be poorly educated because an uneducated proletariat is easily manipulable. You can guide them in any direction you want to because they don't have the thinking power to be able to look and see the corruption or the hypocrisy of it. And, you know, science is one of the main fields of study that requires a lot of education, a lot of study, a lot of due diligence and hard work to get it right. And, you know, Donald Trump doesn't like that. So the mathematics has been defunded in colleges by about 72%. Physics has been defunded about 85%. Chemistry by 57%. Astronomy is down by 53%. And earth sciences, you know, earth science sounds woke to me, that is down 80%. This is brain drain. You are forcing people who are in this country to want to leave, and people who are wanting to come here to get educated in America, they're just going to go elsewhere. They're going to go to Europe. They're going to go to China. You know, they're going to go to the UK or Australia. They're not going to come here. I mean, other than the fact that they might just get snatched up by the government and sent to fucking Sudan. And that's right. A new place that we're sending immigrants that we don't like in this country is South Sudan. I mean, Jesus Christ, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're going to have little concentration camps everywhere. I mean, you're lucky if they just drop you off and they don't just put you in a fucking prison. I mean, that sounds horrible, but that's better than getting put in Seacot in El Salvador in a concentration camp torture dungeon that you're never going to get out of. But so Donald Trump is really pissed off at education centers, and he is doing everything he can to defund it down to the fucking bone. And it's either some kind of revenge or, you know, it's just the fact that he doesn't like educated people calling out his bullshit. I don't know which one it is. I mean, it's not like we haven't just chopped into child cancer research. I believe that they had a study recently, a 30-year study on, it was either on Alzheimer's or is on diabetes. I can't remember which one it was, but a 30-year study, he just ended it. He just chopped it. It's just gone. So 30 years worth of research on a disease that we deal with on a daily basis, it's just gone. All of that information, that valuable information. Now you say, well, maybe they'll start it up during the next presidency. Well, there would be a fucking 4-year gap in the middle of it. It kind of just kind of cuts the legs out from under the study when you do something like that. He just doesn't give a shit, you know? But, you know, we got plenty of funding for the military, plenty of funding for ICE, you know, to tackle, you know, Hispanic grandmas to the ground while their daughter gets slammed on the ground right beside them. You know, we got all the money for the military, $1 trillion. I thought it was waste, fraud, and abuse. That's what we're trying to get rid of, is the waste, fraud, and abuse. If you are a government entity, like the Defense Department and you fail 7 audits in a row and you cannot account for 60% of the money that we give you, taxpayer money that is given to you, and you can't account for it, that sounds like the biggest waste, fraud, and abuse I've ever seen. But no, we're not cutting into that, dog. Nuh-uh. Remember when Pete Hegseth said, well, we're going to cut the military? You didn't cut shit. You didn't cut shit. It was a 13% increase from like $850 billion to $1.1 trillion for the military. Get the fuck out of here with your waste, fraud, and abuse. And get the fuck out of here for tackling education centers and cutting into math and sciences. You're a dumbass, you're a dickhead, you're a hypocrite, and you need to go fuck yourself. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.